Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Small Town Music. It has been a minute. We have had lots of things going on. School started, my children started daycare, and then got immediately sick for like 3 months, and still, fingers crossed that we're going to be okay. Laura is not going to be with me for a few episodes. Her son is going through some medical procedures. Everything is okay. Everyone's doing okay. It's just, it's expected things, just part of his life. So it's you just get me for a minute. So today we are talking about recruitment and how I recruit personally. Hopefully to give you this can give you some strategies if you don't really know where to start. If you're a first year teacher and you haven't recruited yet, or if recruitment is just not your strong suit. I cannot say that I am perfect at recruiting. I think I do an okay job, and there are things that have worked well for me. And I've tried various things, and in my ninth year of teaching, I feel like I can speak a little bit on this topic. So, to start out, when do you recruit? And that kind of just depends on you and your school year. So, we used to do our instrument company would come in or does come in, and they bring testers. They bring a couple of people. They're usually retired band directors who this is kind of like a side job for them. But they come in and they bring in all the instruments, and they sit at a table, and they work with kids, and they do a great job. They really know how to get kids excited about it and excited about playing instruments. And they literally have kids test instruments, and they let them try out, as many as they want. And, kind of the deal is that the kids kind of run the show. The testers are just there to help them make noise. And then there's a representative from the instrument company who talks to parents about how to buy an instrument and what that's like. So it's a good deal for me because I get a bunch of kids. I don't have to test every single kid myself, but I also get the instrument company also immediately gets a good chunk of customers, which is great, usually. So we used to do recruiting in May, like all the way towards the end of the school year. And then kind of the idea, I think, with that was just the time of year as the year is winding down and people are, starting to think about classes and moving on to different classes and what they want to pick and just as time has gone on, May is just kind of a terrible month. If this is your first year of teaching, I'm sorry. If it's not your first year of teaching, it's just everything is happening. There's concerts, there's graduation requirements, and you have to make sure seniors are graduating, and you have to make sure this is happening. And there's random field trip, and then there's all kinds of crazy things happening. May is just kind of a wild time, and it's baseball and softball are going hot and heavy. Track usually. I'm trying to think of all the sport. There's track, tennis, baseball, softball, and then we're getting into like summertime soccer stuff, and people are starting to make summer plans. And so trying to get kids and parents to come after school um, to test out band instruments is really hard. And then I feel like I lose a lot of kids because they aren't going to show up with their parents. And then I've also tried it during the school day where I've had every single kid come to the band room and test during the school. I get a lot of kids that are kind of starting to get excited about instruments, but I don't get a lot of parents that are on board. And we would try to have a parent meeting like a day or two later, but then parents wouldn't show up because their kids don't take the piece of paper home, or they don't talk to their parents about it, or the parents forget, or whatever. And so that's really rough for me because I end up losing a lot of kids in that process. But then it's rough for the instrument company because they lose a lot of customers that they would potentially have. So, what we did last year, my school has done a middle school like open house event, and they invite all the fifth graders and their parents to come and talk to essentially learn about what middle school is going to look like. What is sixth grade going to look like for their future? Who are the teachers going to be? What activities and clubs can you join? What's going on in their um, general day? What does it look like? So we had a poster, like a little poster board up for band. But then I ended up doing instrument testing night on that same night. So that's a time when most fifth graders are going to be at the school and their parents are going to be at the school too. So not only like I need their parents to get on board with it because as you know, band is not just, a fun, like cool class that you can take and then it's over. Like parents have to be a really big part of this, especially if you're going to talk to kids about buying an instrument. So that ends up being in March, kind of right before spring break. And it actually works out really well for me because we have plenty of time. Basketball season is usually done by then. So, like, check, that's done. And then we have plenty of time between now and the end of the school year to get kids sorted into the right classes. And the guidance office is a lot happier because they have a lot more time to get kids put where they need to be. And it just works out better. We got a much higher percentage of parents willing to buy instruments. That may just be the group of kids that we had come through, but it I think it's going to work out pretty well for us for the next few years. And then down the road, maybe that'll change. Maybe they won't have that middle school open night house anymore, or you know, adapt and evolve. I think that's a big lesson. I was watching the show Abbott Elementary the other day, and the main character was really upset that her kids weren't passing the standardized tests, and she was like, "But my kids always pass, and I do really well, and but my method works." And they're like, "Well, you have to change your method. Kids change. You got to change with the kids," and that really stuck with me. Um, you got to keep changing. So when you start recruiting, like that to me, that's just the big main event. However, recruitment for me is kind of happening all the time. And if it's in little ways, it's when I have the basketball or when I do basketball games with the pep band and when we play music during basketball games, when we do the town parade, when I post things on Facebook, when I try to post pictures or videos of kids performing and playing, or I'm trying to shout out to kids like, hey, these kids are doing really well. These kids are doing this really cool thing. Anytime that regular people in the community can see us, anytime, especially those elementary kids can see us and their parents can see us, is a really good time. And that's an opportunity to kind of recruit and to kind of get out there. So, not that you have to be like the most popular person in town, but try to find something. If you don't already have those things built in, Pet Band for us is a really, really big deal because um, that's the time when the community is going to see us the most. And our Apple Festival parade. That's the whole town lines the streets, and we get to march down and they get to see and hear us. And while we may be small, they always say we sound well. So that's good. Um, Retirement centers, if there's like retirement community or nursing homes, that could be a good place just to get out in the community. But any kind of community performance is going to be good. Social media as a tool. So put out your performances, put out performance videos, showcase students, show off. I have not done this yet because time and brain power, but being able to like showcase, like have a student of the month in band, like, oh, this student is doing really well in their lessons and they're performing great and they have worked really hard and here's why they're important. Have videos of kids performing and playing and show parents what you're doing in your class. Um, if you can see younger kids at any point in time, talk it up with them. Try to make it exciting and make that connection with your future students. I am very fortunate where I teach elementary for half my day. So this year I have first, third, and fourth grade. So I don't have fifth grade. However, I have a great relationship with the choir director who does have fifth grade. So I know that she is talking it up and she is doing her part and to help me talk it up. And also, the time that fifth grade music happens to be is the same time as my seventh and eighth grade band. So I get to invite them down to my room so that I can work with them and talk to them directly. How to make it exciting. So how to make this a big deal. I kind of equate me telling kids to join band like when my mom would tell me to eat my vegetables or to bring a sweater because it's going to be cold. Like I don't want to hear what my mom has to tell me as a almost 12-year-old child. Like she can't tell me what to do. Um, Joke's on me, she can. And she did. Um, so I try really hard to get kids to talk to other kids about it and be selective. Obviously, like the kid who talks about quitting band every day and who you're writing up twice a week and sending to the office, and maybe that's not the kid that you want to talk to. So find the kids that are excited about band, also the kids that are going to connect well with other kids. I bring me all the weird kids, the kids that are not, the non or the bring me neurodivergent kids, any kids, bring me any kids. But you also know the kids that are just socially going to be able to connect with other kids. So have them be the talkers and try to feel that out. And obviously, always screen what kids are going to say. So, like, I'm working on a project right now with my seventh and eighth graders that they are going to be essentially writing out what their presentation is to talk about band. I feel that I have a pretty good relationship with my students, and they also have a pretty good relationship with me, vice versa. So I know that they're going to talk highly of the program that they're wanting to be a part of. Having, if you can't like physically visit the elementary kids or they can't come to you, make a video. I've done that in years past. I know during COVID times, I was able to make video of kids wanting to try out for band, or sorry, kids that are um, in band currently were talking to other kids about why they should join band. And I think that's a really effective way if a kid can tell them like, hey, I do cheerleading, I do basketball, I do all these other activities, but it's really important for me to do band because XYZ. We are also able to take our high school band down to elementary lunchtime and have them play. It's all the same building. So that's a really fun thing that can get kids kind of excited and they can see what it's about. And you make a bunch of noise and you make lunchtime a little more interesting. So that's kind of a fun thing. If you can do like a hallway march, take your kids, march them down the elementary hallway some morning. We do something called Welcome Wednesday, where at the elementary we have different clubs and activities come and welcome the elementary kids. So I will often try to have the band kids go, 2 or 3 times a year and play their instruments for them and have them make a bunch of noise and do fun things in the morning. Just have fun with it. Band is fun and you want to show why it's fun. So just remember that. You want to have clear and concise messaging, especially to the parents. I today was just looking over my letter that I have sent to parents in the past, and there are just so many words. And I confess it is not a letter that I wrote myself. I've tweaked it over the years, but it was absolutely the previous director's letter that she gave me a ton of files of all the things that she had done, and it was so incredibly helpful as a great jumping off point. And just as a first year teacher, you just don't even know where to start. So for me, I took a look at it this year, and now that I'm a parent and I'm kind of, I mean, I'm not quite on the other side of that yet. My children are just in daycare, they're babies still. Um, but as a parent, like, there's so many things going on, and to read this like 3 page letter, single spaced typing, 11-point font, really, I was like, nope, I don't want to read that. I don't want to write that. I don't want to read it all. So like all this information that is so good and has such good information, I would think, yeah, parents should really latch onto this. They're not going to read it because it's such a long letter. So today I just made up a new poster. If you check out our Instagram, small.townmusic, you will see the poster that I made on Canva, which I can talk about Canva in a different episode. You need parents to buy into your program as well, and not just the kids. The kids need to be excited about it to talk it up to their parents, but the parents also need to be on board. As I said earlier, they're the ones paying for the instruments. They're the ones hopefully taking them to concerts. They're the ones that are going to be supporting you down the road. So, parents are our partners, as Laura and I like to say. Be very clear about your expectations of kids, whether that's behavioral expectations, but also out of school commitment expectations. Parents want to know. Kids are super busy these days. I think 10, 12, 15 years ago, kids didn't have as many options after school to do things, but now their time is split in so many different ways because there are just so many different things that they get to do, which is awesome. And I love that kids have options. But that makes it a little bit harder for us as music teachers when by the time they're in sixth grade, they've been exposed to super cool, amazing, fun things. And now they have to make a choice. I only have kids in sixth grade band. We do a concert at Christmas time. We do our Christmas concert, and then we do a concert in May. I invite them to a pep band game. I teach them like sixth grade style, like watered down version of pep band music. So I that's an optional opportunity for sixth graders to join in, but I don't make it required. Um, but I like hand that calendar to parents as they're like signing their kid up for band in March. So the calendar for the next year is already set. I don't change my calendar too much year to year, so that's helpful. But also, I just immediately say like, look, here's the two concerts that we're gonna do. Let me know if you have conflicts, and I try to be reasonable with that. Try to talk up any like college preparatory, benefits you may have. I don't have a dual credit option. We don't have dual credit band, but I can talk about, how band teaches collaboration, how we can learn some skills that jobs are looking for, how we do it is all entirely group work. This is not, I took my math test and I got an A and, Susie over here got a C and I don't doesn't matter to me because it doesn't affect me. If the kid next door, if you have two, if you have a flute section and one flute player knows her part and every other flute player does not know their part, that's not, it doesn't, the whole thing's going to fall apart. Um, so you have to work together. Creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, all these things, and you can mark it up as job skills. I know our NJROTC program is really, really good about talking that up. They are not a dual credit program, but they talk about how much they can prepare you for jobs. So, on the flip side of recruitment, so that's kind of what I do to prepare for recruitment and to get our band out there and to showcase kids. Oh, really talk up awards. So, what awards have you done? Even if it's not really a real award, if you like went to the competition in Orlando and you were the only one in your category, so you got first place, nobody else needs to know that. Just talk about how you got first place in Orlando and a nationwide competition, like find ways to kind of jazz it up a little bit. So, on the flip side of recruiting, are there things that you have to compete with? Are there class schedules? Are there kids outside of school schedules? Um, are there other extracurriculars? Are there teachers that are discouraging kids from being in band? I can't say that I've really had that particularly, but scheduling is a really big issue, especially if you're in a small school. Kids, well, there just aren't enough periods in the day, and there aren't enough teachers to teach the subject. We don't have a team of 5 English teachers, we have two, and English happens when English happens. And if kids want to do special English classes, then that means that their schedule is going to get a little screwed up. So, trying to make band the best time of day possible. If you can talk to your guidance department, kind of be friends with them. We talk a lot about being friends with the janitors, but really being friends with your admin and your guidance department and all those people. I mean, just be friends with everyone because everyone needs to like you. No, that's kind of a hard thing to do. But um, yeah, just talk to your guidance department and see if you can change things around. Do you have a situation? We have like a career readiness path kind of thing, and kids half the day go to like work a job essentially to get ready for a career. And so, do you have a ton of kids that would stay in band that do that? So, could you look at a different option? Um, is your feeder program not what it needs to be? I personally run my feeder program, so it's perfect. No, it's not. But me and the choir director who do elementary music, we talk a lot about, how to improve, what do we need to do, what do we need to do better, what are we lacking, what are we needing from each other. Um, are you able to talk to your feeder program clearly and constructively and say, hey, I noticed that kids are not super excited about band. Can we talk about that? Can we maybe fix that? And if not, I'm sorry. A bad feeder program can be really tricky, but do your best to be the fun one and to get kids excited about it, and they will come. Putting out posters is really helpful, especially with information about if you have some kind of instrument testing night. If you don't have that in place, I think that's really important, to be able to get kids just to try out instruments. And kids are going to switch and kids are going to change their minds, and that's fine. But that at least gets kids foot in the door and they get to play instruments and see how fun it is. But making posters, I use Canva, super easy. I love Canva. It's super great. But things on social media, I've talked a little bit about that. Talk up your field trips, get kids out of class and show them how fun it is. Anytime you can get a kid how to do another work, and you can, we don't really have homework, that kind of thing. Um, Now to kind of my last point here, recruit for the kids that you have, so that retention, and make sure you're still engaging the students that you do have to keep them around. Everything boils down to a choice. If it is a scheduling conflict, it's a choice that they're making to not do band or to not do whatever. So, how do you keep them in band? How do you keep them coming back to you? Is it classroom management? I know personally, I really struggled with this one. I still sometimes do, but my classes were just kind of out of control. I had a couple kids that ran the roost and I just let them because I was tired and I didn't understand like writing kids up and doing the things I needed to do, and I I drove a lot of kids out of band that way. Um so just kind of being honest with yourself, or on the flip side, are you way too harsh on kids? Are you yelling at them constantly? Are you super super strict? And I know the old saying, don't let them see you smile till Christmas, and I get it. I do, because I wish I was a little more strict in the beginning. However, like the kids need to know that you're a safe person to be around and you're also gonna know how to have fun with them. Are you competing with those high school schedules, the graduation requirements? Kind of again, talk to your guidance counselor. Um, but yeah, trying to keep the kids that you have, just be open and honest with them, and I find that that works really well with kids, that they don't want you to you know be fake, but also like you have to want to be a person that they want to be around. If you're kind of a bully, then they're not going to want to be around you. So kind of do some self-reflection and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we are pretty much at the end of our, little chat today about recruitment. If you have ideas for recruitment, if you've done things that work really well for you, let us know. You can email us at smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on TikTok, Small Town Music Podcast, Instagram, small.town music. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. You can find us on YouTube, just Small Town Music anywhere. If you want to donate to us, we do have a Patreon. I'll put all those links in the show notes and the stuff for the YouTube video. I can't think of the specific name, video description, I guess. Um, all those good things. We are working on a better space than this current space. You've been seeing my ugly green furniture for a while now. Um, so we're working on a better space. We've got some microphones. That's good. We're working on some equipment that's a little bit better. And we need your help with that. So like, subscribe, comment, all those good things. I do want to shout out to, I won't give their name out or their location because I don't know that they would want me to, but someone reached out to us and said that they had been listening over the summer and that we had helped them. And I really appreciate that because that was the first person that we didn't know personally that said they listened to the podcast. And that was really exciting. So keep reaching out to us. That makes me want to do more episodes and more things. So to end, I'm going to call this segment Something for You. It is the heart of January. It is, 7:40 p.m. and it is pitch black outside. It's so dark. Also, it is currently, let me check my weather, 10 degrees outside with a wind chill of like negative 1,000 or something terrible. So it's really easy to fall into like the winter hibernation mode. We have had a lot of weather days already. It's only the third week back to school, and we've had 4 e-learning snow days and like 3 2-hour delays, and we had a 1-hour delay in there. That was kind of crazy. So, during the bleak midwinter, what I like to do, what I have found that is very helpful for me right now in my life, is that I just keep to a really good routine. It's very tempting to want to sleep as much as possible, and especially with the delays and the e-learning days, but still waking up kind of at my normal time. I will say my children have forced me into this because they go their daycare, they get breakfast at a certain time, and like they still need to be there at a certain time because all the like the whole census count and all this stuff. Um, so I just go to after I drop them off, I just go to school and do my work, and it's been really really great because then I don't feel off of my routine where you get so many delay days in a row and you're just like you just kind of feel off and even more tired than if you would have just woken up at your normal time. But for me, like it feels like extra prep because I get to work and I get to do like 2 hours of work before anyone shows up, and that I feel so much more ready for my day and my week. So good luck to all of you. We will have more episodes in the future. Looking at my schedule, I'm going to talk about kind of the first 5 minutes of class, what I do. Concert prep, spring concerts are a coming. If you haven't started, it's time. Elementary concerts, what do we do for those? We got some good stuff coming up. So I hope you listen, like, subscribe, comment, follow, email, TikTok, whatever. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.